It's a great honour to be invited to give this opening address here today. A very brief word about myself. I'm a Yorkshireman from Bradford who did an arts degree here at Leeds, philosophy and French. Later became a chartered accountant. I joined Macintoshes that made Quality Street and Rollo and everything in Halifax. They later came together with Rowntree, Kit Kat, Smarties, all those things, and later on, Rowntree Macintosh was acquired by Nestle, which is the world's biggest food company, and I ended up running Nestle in the UK and, as you've heard, in France. So just a few starter thoughts to share with you. I never honestly dreamt that I would end up doing what I did when I started here all those years ago. Just imagine, as Mick said, what you might become involved in and what you might achieve down the track. A lot of people think that everything happens in London. London is not the centre of the world. I know that Yorkshire's a great place from which to start. I ran a major company, but let me assure you that you never stop learning all the way through your life. I'm often asked by students if there are any clues or secrets to a successful life and career, and there are absolutely no hard and fast formulae for this. However, in thinking about today, I've tried to summarise some thoughts on the key learnings that have influenced me and helped me in life, in the hope that some of this might be of interest to you. Although I'm from a business background, I believe that my key learnings apply across very different life paths, and I've grouped them under 6 headings. Firstly, thinking about school. We all have strengths and talents, and I believe that we've got an obligation to make the most of our talents. Fulfillment in life is about extending ourselves, making the most of our opportunities and experiences wherever they arise. Doing as well as we can in exams is obviously extremely important, but life doesn't start or end with exam results. Education is much wider than exam results. Always do your best. It's noticed, and your best will always get better the more times you try. Seek out as broad an education and experience base as possible. I know that you come from many different schools across Yorkshire, but I do know that your schools offer a wide range of extracurricular activities. Seize the opportunity to participate in sports and clubs and societies beyond the classroom. This is all about personal development. Read. There's a big wide world out there. Read about conflict, read about romance, read great history, books, the internet, magazines, whatever turns you on, but learn something new. Bring the world to your doorstep or relax with your favourite author. If there's a chance for you to spend a period abroad through school or indeed otherwise, seriously think about taking it. Quite apart from exposure to another language, it really will give you insights into the wider world and other cultures. Many years ago, my brother and I were lucky enough to do an exchange with a French family when we were at school. Later on, I did a diploma at Poitiers University. These proved to be important events in my life and certainly major influences on my future career, even though I had no idea of that at the time. Also, as it turned out, my brother worked for most of his life with Ciba-Geigy in Germany. And incidentally, we still have contact 3 generations later with that French family with which we exchanged all those years ago. Secondly, some general thoughts about life and careers. It doesn't matter at all if you don't know what you want to do with your life right now. That's absolutely normal. I can remember leaving Leeds University here totally unclear of what I wanted to do career-wise. So don't worry about that right now. Young people are often impatient to progress, but in reality, careers are built gradually, one step at a time. You cannot plan for where you want to be in 25 years' time, particularly when the world is changing so quickly. Long-term success is only achieved by dint of always working hard and to the very best of your ability. Luck can be important in life. I've been very lucky at various stages of my career, particularly following company mergers and takeovers. Luck can present real opportunities, but you have to be able and ready, flexible and open-minded to seize those opportunities and to make the most of them. I changed from arts to accounting, later on to marketing, and then general management as the career opportunities arose. Every problem presents an opportunity, but above all, believe in yourself. Our world never stands still. It's dynamic and changing, far more so than ever before. Hence, people really do need to adapt and move on. You can be very proud of where you're at, you can be very proud of the past, but we can't stay there. We have to move with the world. And most important, when eventually it comes to your career, it really isn't all about money. I often meet people these days who think that success in life is all about making lots of money. The truth is that no amount of cash is worth being miserable. It's a long life doing something that you don't enjoy. What's important is to find out what you're good at and what you enjoy, and then try and find a way to earn money at doing that. Work is serious, but I've always believed that it can and should also be fun. Thirdly, people skills. Regardless of how old you are, life is all about people and relationships with people. People skills are therefore key, whatever you choose to do in life. So, be open-minded, respect and try to understand other people and cultures. Listening is a key skill. It's worth working hard at this. I've often found that in dealing with difficult situations, it helps to try and put yourself in the other person's shoes so that you understand where they're coming from. This will help move a situation to more common ground. Know when to listen and when to speak up. Know what you believe in. Challenge yourself. Listen to other viewpoints. Have opinions, but make sure they're yours, and have respect for others. And teamworking is very important and a great learning experience, whether you're working on a project, managing part of operation or whatever. I remember in my early years in business working on various projects as part of a team, which gave me exposure to people from other functions, sales, marketing, production, engineering and so on. And this was for me an invaluable learning experience. So I strongly recommend that you learn from others, input yourself, be part of the team, don't work in isolation. This is all very important in terms of your personal development. Work's a serious business, but it should also be fun. We spend a lot of time at work, and hopefully it should be enjoyed. I've been particularly lucky working in the food industry with brands, which are probably more of a fun business than most. But I believe that any career should be enjoyed as well as being serious. Fourthly, integrity. You cannot understate the importance of your personal character and integrity. When I was in business, every year we used to have induction days for the new arrivals. And one of our key messages was that everybody had arrived with their ethics and integrity intact, and that it was very important to keep that integrity by behaving in an honourable, honest, open and appropriate way in a complex world. People who act in deceitful and devious ways are inevitably found out and will find their reputation and integrity hard to get back. Fifthly, try new things. In today's world, everything, business, medicine, education, communications, everything evolves with innovation and a readiness to try new ways. We must not be interested only in maintaining the status quo, the situation as it is. Obviously, we need to spend time understanding the general background and culture of the environment in which we're operating, but then we should try and evolve matters. I'll give you an example. Most of our company's brands were created in the 1930s. However, the challenge I used to make to each generation of brand managers was that they should evolve their brand and hand it over to the next generation in better shape than they acquired them. This really required creativity. For example, in the late 90s, Kit Kat was by far the biggest selling chocolate bar in the UK, eaten by everybody, except we discovered, by the 18 to 25-year-olds who didn't eat it because everybody else did. Not accepting this status quo was a huge business challenge that required great creativity, imagination and ingenuity, but eventually led to the hugely successful launch of Kit Kat Chunky, directly aimed at that age group, which quickly added 25% to the brand's already huge volumes. So be creative and try new and different things, but be open about them. And don't worry about making occasional mistakes. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to fail. It's all part of our education. The important thing is to learn from it and have another go. It's how we deal with it that counts. Believe in yourself and always remember, where there's a problem, there's an opportunity. Entrepreneurial skills are important in today's world, and this is one key way of developing them. Sixthly, I'd like to say a few words about foreign languages. Many people in today's world say that knowledge of foreign languages is no longer important because English is the international language. And whilst English is indeed the prime and most important language, in today's global village, I personally do not believe that English is necessarily enough. Having a language competence made a huge difference at several stages of my career. Business and lots of other things are increasingly international, and I'm convinced that language ability can be a significant advantage to those who have them. In saying this, I'm not implying that it's necessary to achieve graduate level competence. I believe that oral skills, the spoken word, listening and speaking are much more important than writing or reading. Foreign language skills are usually supplementary, additional to other skills. They're not usually an end in themselves, unless of course you're going to teach them. Knowledge and understanding of foreign culture and differences are every bit as important as foreign language competence. And I do believe, even though you're specialising perhaps in other things at A level, that there are increasingly opportunities for those not specialising in languages to gain some language ability. For example, by using language modules, language module add-ons offered by some schools and indeed universities. Think about that. I think it might be helpful. What companies and organisations look for today? Today's world is far more complex than it was when I came out of Leeds all those years ago, and good jobs are harder to find. More and more companies and organisations are international or even global, and as the competition is so great, they're looking for people who can demonstrate a CV with standout experience and unique selling points, USPs. In my case, for example, my degree provided me with analytical and language skills. After 3 years further study, I became an accountant, and that gave me real insights into how business and organisation works. That combination was my personal USP. And I think it's worth thinking about, you know, about that in a broader sense yourselves. My experience was in business, but I know and believe that the same principles and learnings can apply to people following careers in the arts, in medicine, in education, in public service and so on. For example, schools and universities are big organisations that operate and indeed compete in the real world. They cannot work in isolation. They all have budgets and targets and objectives, and people are the key assets. They all seek to have their own specific speciality or USP. So the essence, trying to wrap up everything I've said this morning, is to say that I believe that you should seek out as broad an education and experience base as possible, both now at school, but also at work or college or university over the next few years. This is all about personal development, but also about increasing your confidence level. And don't forget, if there's a chance for you to spend a period abroad, seriously think about taking it. And finally, my 3 golden rules in life have always been: never forget where you came from, always keep your feet on the ground, and never ask anybody to do what you wouldn't be prepared to do yourself. It's homespun Yorkshire, but they always serve me well. Thank you very much.